I know that the process of like creating a TV show or a movie, is a long process, and the writing, you add the voices, the sound effects, the music, the animation. I'm curious if you have any memories of seeing the finished product of something that you wrote and feeling like, wow, this is so much better than how I imagined, or maybe like, wow, this is actually not anywhere near what I wanted it to be like.
I would say for me, the best part of the process that I got excited to see the visual representation of what I wrote is thanks to Larry. Where are you?
He is right over here. I was about to mention Mr. Huston, too.
Larry Huston, storyboard artist.
Where is he? He was just here.
He was just here. All right.
All right, he flushed us. Okay, we can talk about him making his back.
So, Larry's a brilliant storyboard artist, and as a producer on G.I. Joe at the time, because I think he worked more on that show than he did on Transformer, I always made sure that Larry got to storyboard my my episodes, because he just made them better. I do remember my first animation script at Ruby Spears was Dragon's Lair, and I saw the storyboard and I was so excited. But when I saw the finished animation, I was just horrified. And part of my job on both Transformers and G.I. Joe as a producer was to go through the rough cuts and call out animation errors, which I know you all know, there are a lot of them. What you don't know is that part of the deal with the animation studio was that they would fix 10 of them for free. After that, we had to pay more, and it would take longer for the episode to be finally delivered. So whoever the director was on that particular episode at Marvel that I was working with would always just say, pick the worst 10. Well, I would pick them all. I'd go through the whole episode, and then I would just check mark the most egregious 10. And then, I supervise the recording sessions, I supervise the mix sessions, so I'm watching the episode again on a big screen at Paramount Studios with the sound mixers. So by the time the shows finally aired, I'd already seen them like half a dozen times, so I never, ever watched the finished product.
Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of times you wouldn't see the finished product. I mean, when I was first producing, before they brought in, the post guys, people that just, doing stuff that, either I was totally incompetent at, or Joe and Tom thought I was better used other ways. So a lot of times you never saw the final product, or it was so long after the fact you didn't remember. You'd see increments. But yeah, I second it with Larry Huston. I mean, like every script I did, he would have stuff in there that was exactly how I envisioned it, but I never actually wrote it down in the script. He would just somehow interpolate it in there, and it's like, okay, get this guy. I think he did all the Visionaries and Humanoids after that. But the other thing, too, there's another category of thing, and that is storyboard errors that happened, especially when they were sent to foreign. Okay, Buzz is laughing. Right? Talk about the storyboard errors, where you would write something in the script, right?
I had
especially when they were in foreign countries and people didn't translate things too literally. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
I did a G.I. Joe script where the Dreadlocks are standing on an airstrip, and three of them are having an argument. And two of them are arguing at first, and then the third one joins the argument. And in the script, I type in, Buzzer sticks his oar in the water, meaning he joins the argument. Literally comes back at that point, there's now a creek running across the airfield,
right.
And he's standing there with an oar that he sticks in the water.
One thing that always bothered me in script, and I've written a lot of scripts over the years with dinosaurs in it, and every time I would use a Tyrannosaurus Rex, I would write in the script, Tyrannosaurus Rex only has 2 claws on each hand. Every little kid in the world knows this. Please do it with 2 claws. Then I'd watch the show, 3 claws.
Remember Christy Marks in one of her scripts, It was one that was storyboarded by Mr. K when Marvel was pretending they weren't sending scripts to Korea. But you always tell the Mr. K scripts. As a matter of fact, the way you beat that was you just like writing like extreme American colloquialism. You can smoke that right out. But there was somebody was having a cow in the background. Okay, to us means that's having a tantrum or something. To them, it was like, you know. Somebody put this in a children's script? I don't think so. Yeah, there were a lot of them that had unintended, very humorous consequences.
Larry Huston also did the storyboarding for X-Men too, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's
No, the
right.
guy's brilliant. I mean, you know, yeah, I wish he was here to hear this because, yeah, he, I mean, and we had great storyboard artists. I'm not taking anything away from anybody else, but he's
All right. Well, my question was answered, but I'm no quitter, so I'm going to come up with something else. So here's my question. What do you, in your own opinion, what was your greatest episode you ever written? And let us know what that episode was. And also, let us know, in your opinion, what was the worst episode you ever wrote, in your own opinion? And it can be Transformers, G.I. Joe, whatever.
Okay, I wrote 12 episodes. 3 I think are good. And one is Autobot Spike, Dinosaur Island, and Megatron's Master Plan, which are based on the old movie, 1941 movie, Meet John Doe. Anyway, there's a guy on Facebook, I'm not going to mention his name, he might be sitting here in the audience, who takes these things extremely seriously. And he writes these long, detailed, in-depth reviews on Facebook about each episode. The only episode he liked of mine, he hated those 3 specifically.
Wow.
The only one he really liked was the one I thought was my worst, which was the Autobot Run. And he
wow.
It's very strange how we all have our different values, but his criticism was that these scripts, there was terrible action, there was no humanity. I don't know what he meant by that, I guess.
Robots, yeah.
Anyway, so those were my 3 favorite episodes. The rest were all just like half-hour commercials as far as I was concerned, selling toys.
Gotcha.
But those I got to put a little extra in. 2 of them were 2-parters, which gave you an opportunity to do a little bit more nuance, a little subtleties, a little characterization. And I'm a huge Frankenstein fan.
Yeah.
And Autobot Spike was my chance or excuse, I guess, to write a Frankenstein story, a Frankenstein type of story, including having flashbacks, not flashbacks, but they're watching it on television or something, an old movie.
Right.
And that was a joy for me to do.
Nice.
I would say, career-wise, The Traitor and Arise, Serpentor, Arise are my 2 personal favorites. In Transformers, The God Gambit is my favorite Transformers episode.
Yeah.
As for the worst, I wrote for a show called The Little Clowns of Happy Town. And I challenge anyone here to come up with a lower slink than that.
Yeah, remember we were having a contest, the lowest slinks we'd been on for projects?
Yeah. Well, for
I
me,
always talked about the positive stuff.
keeping it just to Transformers and G.I. Joe, I guess I'll couch it by my personal favorite episode I wrote for Transformers, which I don't think is shared with many of the fans, was The Burden Hardest to Bear. Probably my least favorite, even though TFcon came out of it, was The Gambler, and that's simply because I just didn't know what I was doing. I was just making it up as I went along because I just didn't get the show.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing.
And I guess for G.I. Joe, I had a lot of fun with the Cold Slither episode, and it seemed to resonate with a lot of fans. So.
I still like Ninja Holiday.
Oh yeah? Wow, nobody talks about Ninja Holiday.
We were thwarted. We wanted to have an Elvis impersonator sing, "I'm going out on a ninja holiday," and they wouldn't spring for it.
Well, actually, funny story. Years later, I was writing and pitching live-action TV series to the networks, and had this one pilot, and we had, not at the same time, we had two directors attached, we were showrunners attached, and in the first meeting with the showrunners, my writing partner and I, we had lunch with them, and we were all telling each other our origin stories. And one half of the writing team is really into pop culture and comics and animation, all that stuff. The other guy is more kind of, well, maybe a little more like Flint. You know, he's more of a history, nonfiction guy, and, you know, kind of looked down at his nose at any animation. But he did say at this lunch, he said, "Yeah, I saw this one G.I. Joe episode, or part of an episode, and the guys are, you know, humping through the jungle, and somebody says to one character, you know, this feels like Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness. You know, did you ever read that?" And the other character says, "No, but I once saw The Heart is a Lonely Hunter." Now, I wrote that line because Chuck McCann, who played the character who says, "I once saw a film called The Heart is a Lonely Hunter," was actually in the movie The Heart is a Lonely Hunter back in 1968. So I thought Chuck would appreciate it. But so when he tells me this is the one episode that he saw, I had to go, yeah, I'm the guy that wrote that one episode that you saw.
All right. Thank you.